Hello everyone. In this video, I am going to explain you piston, which is one of the important part of the IC engine. So here it is a piston. So you can see here. So it is a piston, and this piston will reciprocate inside the cylinder in the IC engine. So you can see here, so this is the head of the piston, and this piston will reciprocate inside the cylinder. So it is connected to the connecting rod. So this is called the connecting rod. It is connected to the connecting rod by using the pin. So you can see here, so this is called the Goodegao pin. Sometimes it is also called the piston pin. So this is called the small end of the piston, and it is called the this is called the small end of the connecting rod, and this is called the big end of the connecting rod. So here one more figure is given of piston. So these are called the rings. These are called the piston rings. Piston rings will be fixed on the circumference of the piston. So actually, so these while reciprocating, so these rings will come in contact with the cylinder. So this is just some schematic of the piston. So let us see in details one by one. Construction of piston. So here you can see, so this is the piston. So here it is rings will be placed on this, and here you can see, so here the piston pin will be placed so that piston can be connected with the connecting rod, connected to the connecting rod. So here you can see, so this is the cross section of the piston. So this is called the piston head or crown. So this may be flat, or sometimes it may be cup shape. It depends on the clearance volume required in the IC engine. So if it is cup shape, so it will increase the clearance volume. So if you actually want to more clearance volume, so we can go for the cup shape piston head. So these are called the ribs. So ribs are used to support the piston head. So this is called the top flange. So this is called the ring section, and from this point to this point it is called the skirt. So which is called the piston skirt. So it is called the piston boss. So it is the here you can say, so this portion it is. So this is here by this portion. So this piston is connected with the connecting rod by using the piston pin, or sometimes it is also called the Goodegao pin. So this what you can say, these grooves are made to place the rings on the piston. So this is called the top flange, and this is called the ring flange. So in this grooves, piston rings will be placed. So here you can say, total length of the piston is equal to length of the top flange plus length of the ring section plus length of the skirt. So by addition of 3 lengths, so we will get the total length of the piston. So piston, it is one of the important part of the IC engine. So it is reciprocating part of the IC engine. It transmits the pressure force to crankshaft. Afterwards, compresses the gas in compression stroke, seals inside portion of cylinder from crankcase, that is piston rings, by using piston rings, means whatever the gases or fluids inside the cylinder, so that will be sealed by piston by using the piston rings. Takes side thrust resulting from obliquity of connecting rod. Side thrust means, so whatever the gas pressure is acting on this piston surface and continuously, so this connecting rod is going to make angle. So it in this angle always changes while operation. So because of this, so there is some side thrust, so that will be resisted by using by this piston, and dissipates heat from combustion chamber to cylinder wall. Means whatever the gas heat in the gas, it absorbs the heat from the gas and transfer to the cylinder wall. So here you can say, so whatever the gas, so while reciprocating, so this piston head will going to absorb and finally it will going to transfer to the cylinder wall. Materials used for pistons. So there are different materials, so which are used to manufacture the pistons. So let us see some important materials. First one is cast iron. So first of all, if you look at the materials, means if you want to use any material as a piston material, so there are some required properties material should have. Material should have some required property. Means if you want to use any material as a piston material, so material should have good strength, wear resistance, it should have low density, it should have low high thermal conductivity. So afterwards it should have high operating temperatures. So there are many other properties, so which required in the materials. First of all, if you see the cast iron, so which is a material, it is one of the material, so which is used in manufacturing of the pistons. It has good strength and good wear resistance, but it has high density and low thermal conductivity. So used for medium power engines with speed below 6 meter per second. Next is aluminum alloys. So aluminum alloys having low density, so it is what you can say, it is good for pistons, low density and good thermal conductivity. So good thermal conductivity, it increases the what you can say, transfer of heat from the gases to the cylinder wall. But these exhibit reduction in strength at higher temperatures. Means as the temperature increases, so its strength is gone decreases. And high coefficient of thermal expansion means its dimensions are going to change with increasing temperatures, so which is not required, which is disadvantage for the piston materials. Strength of forged aluminum pistons are 40% higher than the pistons made by casting. So pistons made of these materials are used for high power engines with speed more than 6 meter per second. So next is materials used for pistons. So third one is alloy cast steel and forged steel. So low alloy cast steels are used. Means pistons made from low alloy cast steels are used in automotive engines, and forged steel pistons are used in the some aircraft engines. So next is piston head. So piston head, so let us see one by one the different parts of the piston. First one is piston head. So depend upon the clearance volume required, so and arrangement of walls. So this is the piston head. So piston head, you can see here it is a flat and here it is a cup shape. So we can have flat head also, we can have cup type also. So this depends on the clearance volume required. So suppose if you want more clearance volume, so we can go for the cup type piston head. Okay, so this is called thickness of the piston head. It is denoted by TH. So thickness of the piston head is calculated on two criteria. First one is strength criterion. So by using this Graseff's formula, TH thickness is given by is equal to D into square root of 3 into P max by 16 sigma B. So if you take 3 by 16 outside this square root, so it will be 0.433 into D into square root of P max by sigma B. So here P max means it is maximum pressure of the gas inside the cylinder. Sigma B means it is permissible bending stress, and it is given by SUT by FOS. SUT means it is a ultimate strength of the material, so which you are going to use for the piston, manufacturing of the piston, and FOS is, so this is factor of safety. So here you can see, so normally most widely used material for piston head are cast iron and aluminum alloys. So for cast iron, sigma B value ranges from 35 to 40 MPa, and for aluminum alloys, so its value ranges from 50 to 90 MPa. Next is second criteria to find the thickness, that is heat dissipation. So piston head absorbs heat during combustion and transmits to cylinder wall. Means it absorbs heat from the gases during combustion and it transmits to the wall. So that's why, so it should also be checked on heat criteria, that is heat dissipation criteria. So according to this criteria, thickness is given by H by 12.56 into K into Tc minus Te into 10 raised to 3. So H is given by C into HCV into M into Bp into 10 raised to 3. H means it is heat conducted through piston head. So it should be in watt. You have to substitute that H value in terms of watt. K means it is thermal conductivity, watt per meter degree Celsius. You know already this value means this meaning. Tc means it is temperature at the center of the piston head, and Te means it is temperature at the edge of the piston head. So you can see, so here for different materials, so value of K and Tc minus Te is given. So here important parameter is H. How to calculate H? H is given by C into HCV into M into Bp into 10 raised to 3. HCV means it is higher calorific value. So it depends on the type of fuel. So for diesel it is 44,000 kilojoule per kg, and petrol it is 47,000 kilojoule per kg. So you have to substitute here HCV value in kilojoule per kg only. So that's the units are very important. And C means it is heat absorbed by the piston or heat developed in the cylinder. So its value is 0.05. Means it is only 5% of this energy is released by the whatever the fuels is used. Means that amount only 5% heat is absorbed by the piston. So that's why it is 0.05. M means it is mass of fuel used per BP per second. So it is, you have to substitute M value in terms of kg per kilowatt second. So average consumption of this is also, M is also called sometimes it is BSFC, brake specific fuel consumption. So it is average consumption is 0.2. Normally its value ranges from 0.24 to 0.3 kg per kilowatt hour. So here you can see, so this is given in terms of hour, per hour. So to convert per hour into per second, so you have to multiplied by 3600. Okay, so this is value of the m value. You have to substitute in terms of kg per kilowatt second. So BP is brake power, you have to substitute in terms of kilowatt. So here you can see, so BP, if you substitute in kilowatt, it is in kg per kilowatt, means kilo and kilo get cancels here. And here HCB, so you are going to substitute in terms of kilo joule per kg. So this kilo, because of this kilo, because here kilo and kilo get cancels here, so here only remaining is 1 kilo. So to convert that, remove that kilo, so it's, that's why, so it is multiplied by 10 raised to 3. Then H value will be in terms of the watt. Piston ribs. Next is piston ribs and cup. So here you can see, so this is a piston head, and this piston head is supported by piston ribs. So these are called the piston ribs. So number of piston ribs are ranges from 4 to 6, and its thickness is given by th by 3 to th by 2. So here th means it is thickness of the piston head. So here ribs are not always used. So there is a condition, so when we can use ribs and when we should not use the ribs. So th, if the th is greater than 6 mm, means thickness of the piston head is greater than 6 mm, then we can use the ribs. Ribs are that is ribs are required. And if the th is less than or equal to 6 mm, so ribs are not required. So this is the condition for the use of ribs. Cup shape is used for additional space, so it will increase the additional space. Already I explained, means it increases the clearance volume. So cup is also we cannot use always. So there is a condition. So if the L by D ratio is greater than 1.5, that is stroke length to the diameter ratio is greater than 1.5, then cup is not required, no cup. So if the L by D ratio is less than or equal to 1.5 and cup is required, and its radius, so here you can see, so this is the radius of the cup. So this radius of the cup is given by, it is equal to 0.7 D. So D means here it is bore diameter of the cylinder. So next is dimensions and cross section of the rings. So this is the ring, you can see. So before we fix it on the cylinder, so before we fix it on the cylinder, so there is a gap between the end faces. This is called the gap between the free ends. Okay, so thickness in this direction, it is called the radial thickness, radial width of the ring or radial thickness, and thickness in this direction is called the width, that is axial thickness of the ring. Okay, so and distance between these ends, it is called the gap. So here you can see, this is the H, this is the cross section of the ring, this is H, and this is the B. So radial width of the ring B is given by, it is equal to D into square root of 3 Pw by sigma T, where Pw means it is radial pressure between the ring and cylinder wall. So its value ranges from 0.025 to 0.042 Newton per mm square, and sigma T means it is permissible tensile stress for ring material. So its value is, so suppose if you use the cast iron as the ring material, so its sigma T value is 85 to 110 Newton per mm square. So normally we take this value as a 100 Newton per mm square. Next is axial thickness of the ring. So axial thickness, this thickness value H is equal to 0.7 B to 1 B. So H minimum value is equal to minimum value of H should be equal to D by 10Z. So normally what we are going to do in the problem is, first initially we are going to find the H value using this equation, that is 0.7 B to B. Afterwards we substituting that H value in this equation, we are going to find the, that is Z. Z means it is number of rings. And next is before assembly, that means before this ring is fixed on the piston, so its gap is given by, so gap is given by 3.5 B to 4 B. So next is width of top land and ring lands. So this is called the width of top land, and this are called the width of ring lands. So width of top land H1 is given by, H1 is equal to TH to 1.2 times TH. So TH means it is a thickness of the piston head. Next H2, width of ring land, it is given by 0.75 H to the 1 times the H, where H is the axial thickness of the ring. So this is the value of H. Next is piston barrel. So this complete portion is called the piston barrel. So this is called the top land, and from this point to this point it is called the ring section, and from this point to this point it is called the piston skirt. So this value of T3 is given by, T3 is equal to 0.03 D plus B plus 4.9, where D is the bore diameter, B is the radial width of the ring plus 4.9. So we have to substitute value of B and D in terms of the mm here, and T3 value will be in a mm. Next is T4. This is the value of T4. T4 is given by 0.25 T3 to 0.35 T3. So whenever range is given, so always try to take the middle value. Suppose here middle value is 0.3 T3. So normally you can go for the T4 is equal to 0.3 T3. So next is piston skirt. So function of the, what is the function of piston skirt? It is normally it acts as a bearing surface for side thrust. So already I explained, because of this change in the angle of the connecting rod, so there is always a force acts in this direction, so which is called the side thrust. So also piston skirt takes the side thrust, and also it acts as a bearing surface for the piston pin. So here you can say, so piston and connecting rod is connected by this hole here, where both will be connected using the piston pin. So this piston skirt will act as a bearing surface for the piston pin. So bearing pressure due to side thrust is given by 0.25 MPa. This is for the low speed engines, and for high speed engines bearing pressure due to side thrust is given by 0.5 MPa. So here it is important that we need to find the length of the piston skirt. Length of the piston skirt means from this point to this point. So this is called the length of the piston skirt. So this is given by, this is we are going to find by, so let us see the procedure how to find that. So here maximum gas force on piston head. So piston head maximum gas force is given by pi d square by 4 into P max. So this is the gas force on the piston head, maximum gas force. So side thrust is given by mu into pi d square by 4 into P max, where mu means it is 0.1, means it is side thrust force acts is equal to 10% of the maximum gas force on the piston head. So resisting thrust, whatever the side thrust it is acting, so that is resisted by Pb into d into Ls. So for equilibrium, so these two should be equal. Okay. So by equating S1 and S2, so here you can say mu means 0.1. So d means bore diameter, P max means maximum pressure, gas pressure. So Pb means it is allowable bearing pressure. Its value ranges from 0.25 to 0.5. So normally we take it as a 0.35 or 0.4. So d means it is again bore diameter. So only unknown will become here, it is Ls, means length of the piston skirt. So by equating S1 and S2, we can find the length of the piston skirt, that is Ls suffix s. So its Ls value should be in the range of 0.65 d to 0.8 d. So after once we find the value of Ls by equating S1 and S2, whatever the value we are going to get, we have to check whether that is in this range or not. So 0.65 d to 0.8 d. Okay. So afterwards, total length of the piston is given by length of flange plus length of rings plus length of skirt. So here I will explain you again. Total length of the piston is given by, so here you can see total length of the piston is given by length of top line plus length of ring section plus length of the skirt. So if you add three lengths, so you will get the total length of the piston. Okay. So next is piston pin, or it is called the Goodyear pin. So here you can see, so this is the piston pin. So this piston pin is used, so here you can see piston pin. So this piston pin is used to connect the piston and the connecting rod. This piston and the connecting rod. So it connects the piston and connecting rod. So end moments are restricted by circles, means by having the circle at the ends, so it's in the motion in this direction will be prevented or restricted. So this is designed by two criteria. Sometimes first one is bearing, next one is bending. Sometimes we are also going to use the shear criteria. So how to find the dimensions of the piston pin? Okay. So next, how to find the dimensions of the piston pin? So here you can see, so this is the piston pin. So here you can see, so di is the inner diameter of piston pin and d0 is the piston outer diameter of the piston pin. So here you can see, so this is the piston pin. So it is inserted into the skirt, hole made in the skirt and connecting rod. So this is the connecting rod section from here to here. So whatever the length which is common between connecting rod and pin, so it is denoted by L1. So total length of the piston pin will be equal to bore diameter, that is capital D. So here by bearing considerations, so L1 is equal to 0.45 D. L1 means it is the length of the connecting rod, that is covered by the piston pin. So and again force on the piston is given by, so already we know that in the previous equations, length of force acting on piston is given by pi d square by 4 by P max. And here it is resistance, this resistance means here you can say whatever the gas force acting on the piston, so that will also act on this joint, the same force. Okay. So resistance by this joint is given by Pb1 into d0 into L1. So this is d0 into L1, d0 outside diameter of the piston pin into L1. So this is called the bearing surface, bearing projected area, d0 into L1 into Pb1 means it is bearing pressure at bushing of small end. So this end of the piston is connecting rod is called the small end of the connecting rod. Other end is called the big end of the large end of the connecting rod. So for equilibrium, so we need to equate these two equations. So Pb1 is will be approximately equal to the, so we normally take it as a 25 MPa. So if we equate these two equations, we will get the value of D naught, that is outer diameter of the piston pin, and inner diameter of piston pin is given by 0.6 times D naught. So that means we are going to get the dimensions of the piston pin, inner diameter and outer diameter. And next is mean diameter of piston boss is given by 1.4 times D naught for grey cast iron and 1.5 times D naught for aluminium alloy. Once you find dimensions, you need to check it for bending and shear, means whether it can withstand the whatever the bending it is acting and shear it is acting. So bending stress induced in the piston pin is given by MB by sigma J, MB by Z. Z means it is I by Y. You know polar section modulus, polar moment of inertia, polar section modulus. Z means it is a section modulus. It is given by I by Y. I means it is pi d naught raised to 4 by minus d I raised to 4 by 64. Y means it is centroid from the extreme fiber, distance of centroid from the extreme fiber. Here Y will be d naught by 2. So substitute that values, so you will get the value of Z. Next, MB means it is bending moment. It is given by P into D by 8. P into D by 8. Okay. So here it is sigma. Suppose whatever the value of sigma B you are going to get, value of bending stress induced you are going to get. So that should be less than the whatever the allowable stress for that material. Suppose if you use the material case hardened steel, its allowable stress is 84. Means if you use this material, so stress induced should be less than 84. Then only piston pin is safe. Next, also if we use the heat treated alloy steel, its allowable stress is 140. It is applicable. Suppose if you use this material, so allowable stress should be less than the, so stress induced should be less than the, means the sigma B value whatever you are going to calculate. So whatever you are going to get, so this value should be less than the 140 Newton per mm square. Then only piston pin will be safe. Next is shear consideration. If you want to check for shear, allowable shear stress is given by, how to calculate this? By using this formula, force on the piston by shear area. So force on the piston already we know, pi d square by 4. So this is pi d square by 4 into P max, and shear area is given by 2 into pi by 4 into d naught square minus di square. So this is pi by 4. Okay. So you calculate this value, whatever the value you are going to get. So this value is induced shear stress should be less than the whatever the allowable shear stress for the that material which you are going to use to manufacture the piston pin. So this is the shear stress induced. Whatever the value you are going to get, so this is shear stress induced. So that induced shear stress should be less than the allowable shear stress. Then only pin will be safe. Next is piston clearance is given by 0.0375 to 0.1875 mm. So in the next video we shall see the problem on the piston. So now I am going to stop here. So thank you all for watching this video.